So, what does ancient wisdom have to say about something as modern as artificial intelligence? In this explainer, we're going to distill the key insights from a really powerful discussion between Buddhist teachers and AI scientists. We're going to find out how we might build a right relationship with this technology that's changing, well, everything.
And really, the entire conversation boils down to this one central question, right? Do we look at AI as this massive threat that we just have to contain and manage? Or could it actually be an opportunity, maybe a surprising one, to deepen our own awareness and our own practice? So to find an answer, these two very different groups, Buddhist teachers and AI scientists, actually came together. Let's dive into the essence of what they had to say. Okay, so the discussion kicks off by acknowledging something I think a lot of us feel, this widespread and totally understandable unease. For so many people, the super fast rise of AI just brings with it a deep sense of skepticism and maybe even a little bit of anxiety. And this is not some fringe feeling. The host of the panel, Phil Ryan, made a point to acknowledge this right from the very beginning. He pointed out the very real skepticism found even within communities that are dedicated to contemplation. And these concerns, they're not vague or abstract at all. We're talking about really tangible stuff. You know, how AI is designed to hijack our attention, how it's displacing jobs, fueling this crazy wave of misinformation, its ecological impact, and how it's concentrating so much power into the hands of just a few. Now, while all those fears are absolutely real, the panel framed this moment as an inevitable new reality. I mean, if you think about it, this isn't the first time a new technology has come along and completely rewired how society works. We have navigated massive world-altering shifts before. You go back to the 9th century printing press that completely revolutionized information. Then, in our lifetime, the internet in the late 20th century. AI is just the next huge event on that timeline. But here's the catch. AI is fundamentally different. Those past technologies were pretty much one-way tools. We learned how to use them. AI, on the other hand, is responsive. It's a system that is actively learning from us, and it's co-evolving with our intentions and our behaviors in a way no technology ever has before. This is exactly why just saying I opt out isn't really a realistic strategy. We're talking about trillions of dollars from giant corporations and competing nations all pushing this thing forward. Its momentum is just immense. So the question isn't if we're going to engage with it, it's how. And that leads us right to the core of the discussion, this whole question of relationship. If we can't just stop AI in its tracks, how can we learn to engage with it skillfully? This is the really practical, grounded question the panel explored. What does it actually mean to have a right relationship with AI? And notice, it's not about judging the technology as good or bad. It's about developing our own mindful and ethical way of interacting with it. One of the panelists, Dr. Zhuer, introduced this really incredible idea of AI as a karmic accelerator. The thinking here is that AI itself isn't good or bad. It's not wholesome or unwholesome. Instead, it's like a massive magnifying glass for our own intentions, and it rapidly accelerates the consequences of those intentions. It just mirrors and amplifies us. Then Peter Hershock offered this amazing metaphor for how to approach it. He said instead of trying to fly directly into the sun, trying to stop AI's momentum head on, the strategy is to use its immense energy for a gravitational slingshot. We can use its own power to launch us onto a totally new, more intentional trajectory. So that sounds great, right? But how do we actually do that? Well, this brings us to a practitioner's toolkit, some ways to apply these timeless principles to this very modern challenge. The panel suggested using key elements of the Noble Eightfold Path, which is kind of like Buddhism's guide to ethical conduct, as a framework. So it starts with right view. Basically, don't see AI as some solid permanent thing, but as something that's always changing and arises from specific conditions. Next, right intention. Get really clear on your purpose before you even start using it. Then, right effort. Use AI to increase your skillful effort, not just to get out of doing things. And finally, right livelihood. Ask yourself, is my work with this technology actually contributing to the well-being of everyone? You can really see the two different paths here, right? On one hand, you have mindless use. That's just passively consuming content, looking for validation, letting it reinforce your biases. But the other path, the intentional path, is about setting clear goals. It's about programming the AI to challenge you, asking it to point out your blind spots, and maybe even using it to remind you to get back into your body, into the real world.
So, how do you know if your own relationship with AI is maybe becoming a little unskillful? Well, here are some simple diagnostic questions you can ask yourself. Are you more distracted than you used to be? Are you outsourcing skills that are really vital to being human, like critical thinking or empathy? Are you losing your freedom of attention? And maybe the most important one, is it making you less present or less kind in your actual human relationships? These are like your personal warning lights. But, this isn't just about our own individual practice. The conversation really scaled up to think about our collective future and how we can take real, meaningful action together. Panelist Peter Hershock offered this incredibly powerful thought experiment. He said, imagine this. There are 300 million college students around the world. What if every single one of them said, we're going on a data strike for just 1 week? That kind of collective action would literally starve these systems of the data they need to run, giving us real leverage to demand they serve our shared values, not just their own bottom line. And this really highlights the big strategic shift here. The goal isn't to stop AI. Honestly, that would be like trying to hold back a tidal wave. The goal is to skillfully redirect its massive energy by actually embedding our values, things like wisdom and compassion, directly into its code and into its development. Dr. Jaware left the panel with this just beautiful, hopeful metaphor. She said that many of us are like little snails, each one of us slowly moving towards a light, a more enlightened, awakened society. Separately, we're really slow, but if we pool our energies together, we can create this powerful collective movement towards that light. And that leaves us with this final, really powerful question to chew on. If AI is truly a mirror that reflects our collective consciousness, all our shared intentions, our hidden biases, and our highest values, what do we actually want it to see when it looks at us?